Alright, I've got all my half-lap joints cut on the end, and now I need to work on the inside. As you can see from the picture, we have half-lap joint, 18-inch space, another half-lap joint, 18-inch space, another 18-inch space. So if you go right down the middle, it is symmetrical, top and bottom. And that way we've cut both ends. Now we can set up to cut this, then flip it 180 and cut the same one. And if we're accurate, we can be completely symmetrical. And I've already tested one out, and it works out great. I've got my 2-inch half lap, 18 inches, 2 inches, and so on all the way down. And what I've done to set this up, let me go to this side, is I've moved my miter gauge again, and I've screwed some backer blocks in here to keep the dust and making a shroud going down. But over here, essentially, what I did is I made a kerf maker. This is my 2-inch stock that I'm working with, just a scrap cutoff. And of course this is my stop block for my end length. But my beginning, what I did is I ran this piece of scrap over the dado blade to remove just enough material as the width of the blade. So that way I can grab my piece here. I can start my cut right there, and that removes the beginning of the piece. And as I cut, I can keep edging my way more and more to my stop, which removes the other side. So I've set up a kerf maker stop block system basically. My total distance traveled, my cut is equal to this, and my distance traveled is equal to my stock minus the kerf. So yeah, I've already cut one. It works out great. There's exactly 18 inches of clearance here, 18 inches here, 18 inches there. So the joint fits nice and snug right there. And now I've just got to cut the remaining pieces. Gluing everything together is pretty much, pretty straightforward. Just spreading glue and using clamps. They fit in there really snug. On these inside corners, I really don't like to get a wet rag for glue, but these inside corners are going to be pretty annoying if I don't, so that's what I'm doing, is just wiping away the glue, making sure I'm square, which I am, and then using a pipe clamp attached to my bench. Apologize about the noise. I've got the heater going in the background because I am using some glue, and I don't want it to be too cold in here for that. So anyway, I've got a couple of these panels done, and I'm starting to plane the joints. Some of these joints just a tad off, no big deal. I'm going to plane them down nice and smooth, and then hit them with some sandpaper after that. But oftentimes we overcomplicate things. I don't have a good workbench, and you don't need one. There's two sawhorses with the panel just shoved up against the wall, planing in that direction. You're not going to push this through the wall, so that is basically a vise. It'll work just fine. going in that direction, I can push it into that cabinet. That'll be fine as well. Bring your dust bucket to your work. All my shavings, for the most part, all my shavings, just throw right in the bucket. So don't make too much work for yourself. Right, these are the two planes that I've been using. This one's set a little bit more aggressive, roughing things out, and smoothing with this. These are El Cheapo planes. They're very inexpensive. I think we've got less than 20 bucks in both of these. So I've got this one set fairly aggressive just to level these out. I'm getting some knife marks or some iron marks in here, but I'm just trying to level these out. I'll smooth them out with the other plane that I'm using and then sand everything nice and neat. This sawhorse has really come in handy on a lot of my projects. I've got the frame set on its side, straddling this sawhorse on the end, pushed up against the wall. Now I've got a good steady source for me to clean up this end grain and then the rest of the side of this rail. First thing that I like to do is pare off this end grain so that it's nice and flush and you barely have to do anything else with it. And being careful not to hit this outside edge too much because you don't want it to push out and then break off the corner. So I always like to do that last. When I get to the end, I want to make sure that I'm pushing the chisel from the outside in, but I'm also going in the direction to remove it while pushing this way. Now we have a nice flush surface before we even start planing.